I was really raised in a family of storytellers, and especially in a family with some really powerful women who were writers. So I was really raised within a culture of kind of like telling stories about the past and laughing a lot about the present.
Down by the river in the city of dreams.
I've been obsessed with the motels on Airline Highway in New Orleans for a while now. And there's a handful of really seedy motels that have been there since the 50s that were once grand before the age of the interstate. But I've also, heard stories and read stories about the communities that build up in these places, because there are a lot of people that rent rooms by the week and live there because maybe their credit rating isn't quite enough to get an average, a regular apartment. And so I know that in some of these motels there are people who work in the quarter that come back and they live in these motels. And I just started wanting to imagine this world of who is living there. I'm a big fan of the French Quarter, and I'm a big fan of Bourbon Street, actually. Many people just see the kind of like smutty tourist surface of Bourbon Street, but when I walk down Bourbon Street, I see artists being employed, I see small businesses, I see spectacle. And so I was very interested about how I could write a play in which I could explore both of those worlds. Like, who are the people that are kind of making the French Quarter tick, and where do they live, and what kind of community do they make with each other? So, the most obvious is the character of Francis in the play, who is, he's kind of like your local beat poet. He is based on my very dear friend, Danny Kerwick, in New Orleans, who is a local poet. And I love him dearly, and I've known him about 20 years. And he knows he's in the play, and he will be at opening night. And then Miss Ruby is based on a New Orleans living legend named Chris Owens, who is a performer who's had a kind of burlesque nightclub act on Bourbon Street for many, many years. She's an amazing seamstress. She's a center of the kind of French Quarter community, and she's a great performer. It's taken me a while to be brave enough to write about New Orleans. I'm from there, and it's a really difficult place to capture, even when you're from there. I love that city with all my heart. I was away for many years, and it literally just pulled me back. New Orleans needs money. It needs new residents. It's very much a positive thing. But a lot of times you forget about the people who have lived in New Orleans for a really long time, the people who have slowly over time built the city and made it into what it is. These are often not wealthy people. These are often people that you don't read about in the newspapers. And I think these people should be celebrated. And I think this play tries to celebrate them.
Down by the river in the sea.